No update. Just felt a little something in her groin, so we'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there.
Just moments ago, the sports world was flipped upside down, and the internet has exploded with reactions because the unthinkable just happened. Caitlyn Clark, the unstoppable force and shining hope of the WNBA, is reportedly stepping away from the game, not months from now, not next season, but immediately. After enduring relentless hits, bruising matchups, and controversial officiating decisions week after week, the league's brightest star may have finally reached her breaking point. And it wasn't just a minor injury or a bad game that caused it, no. This was something deeper, something raw, something that's been quietly building behind the spotlight, behind the smiles, behind the record-breaking stats and sellout crowds. It all came crashing down in a single moment when Caitlyn Clark suddenly collapsed mid-game, grabbing her leg in visible agony, her face twisted in pain, her tears falling fast and real onto the hardwood floor. The crowd fell silent, the cameras zoomed in, her teammates froze, because everyone watching instantly knew this wasn't just about basketball anymore. This was a player's spirit unraveling under the weight of impossible pressure. And now, the entire league is asking one question. What really happened behind the scenes to push Caitlyn Clark to this moment of total breakdown? Stay with us because what's about to be revealed may change the future of women's basketball forever. From the outside, it looked like just another stumble, another hard foul in a season full of them. But what really happened that night was the final unraveling of months of pain, pressure, and silence. When Caitlyn Clark clutched her groin and limped across the court with tears streaming down her face, it wasn't just an injury, it was a message, loud and devastating, that she couldn't take it anymore. The arena, packed with fans wearing her jersey, went dead quiet, as if every single person felt her pain all at once. The same fans who had cheered her game-winning threes now watched helplessly as their hero struggled just to walk. And here's the heartbreaking truth. It didn't have to be this way. Caitlyn's breaking point wasn't sudden. It was the result of a dangerous chain reaction set in motion long ago, when she was rushed back onto the court after a quad injury she never had time to fully heal from. Instead of listening to medical advice, the team chased headlines. They needed her face on the court, needed the ticket sales, needed the buzz. But what about her body? What about her future? That never seemed to matter. Behind the scenes, Caitlyn was being pushed harder and faster than her body could handle. Every game, every flight, every practice was adding weight to a growing time bomb. And the Fever staff? Instead of pulling her back and protecting their most valuable player, they kept feeding her minutes, treating her like a machine instead of a human being. And that moment when she collapsed on the court wasn't just the result of one bad step. It was the explosion after weeks, maybe months, of being ignored, overused, and sacrificed for the sake of clout. This wasn't just about pain. This was Caitlyn Clark's body screaming for help after being pushed to the edge by the very people who were supposed to have her back. But the injury was only half the story, because what's really infuriating is how easily all of this could have been prevented. Caitlyn Clark didn't just fall victim to bad luck. She was let down, plain and simple, by the very system meant to protect her. From the start, the Indiana Fever treated her like a headline machine, not a person. After her preseason quad injury, there should have been time to heal, time to recover, time to breathe, but instead, she was thrown back into action like a product on a deadline. No recovery window. No caution, just pressure. Play now, win now, sell now, and for what? The short-term buzz came at the cost of her long-term health. The team's decisions reeked of desperation. Instead of building a stable support system around their biggest asset, they crammed her into a chaotic schedule, one game after another, with barely any rest between flights, practices, and press demands. Even worse, her minutes on the court were managed like a lottery. Sometimes she'd be pulled after just a few plays, other times left on the floor when she clearly needed to rest. There was no rhythm, no plan, no long-term vision, just patchwork strategies and panic decisions. This wasn't load management. This was damage control too little, too late. Caitlyn was being overplayed, overexposed, and underprotected, turning her body into a ticking time bomb. Her groin injury wasn't a surprise. It was inevitable. And let's not forget the emotional toll. While fans saw smiles and highlight reels, What they didn't see was the sleepless nights, the painkillers, the iced knees, the stress, the exhaustion, the fear that one wrong move could end it all. And still, Caitlyn pushed forward because that's who she is. But now, her body is waving the white flag. The cost of neglect is finally being paid, and the people in charge have no one to blame but themselves. And as if the injuries and mismanagement weren't enough, Caitlyn Clark has also been fighting a battle that no scoreboard can measure, a war waged in silence, right in front of thousands of fans who didn't even realize it was happening. Because every time she steps on the court, she's not just facing her opponents, she's bracing for impact, literally. The brutal, physical beatdowns she's been forced to endure game after game aren't just part of the competition, they're personal. Opposing players have been targeting her with relentless aggression, shoving her, elbowing her, throwing cheap shots whenever the refs aren't looking. And you know what's worse? The refs aren't looking. Refs who are supposed to protect players and enforce the rules have practically gone blind when it comes to Caitlyn. Fouls that would stop the game for anyone else are ignored. Obvious hits go uncalled. And Caitlyn? She's left to defend herself against both her opponents and the officials who refuse to step in. It's a pattern, and it's exhausting. It's not just about pain, it's about injustice. She's being punished for being the face of the league. The jealousy, the media pressure, the crowd expectations, it's all crashing down on her shoulders at once. And finally, during one game, she'd had enough. After getting shoved and grabbed repeatedly with zero calls, Caitlyn snapped not in anger, but in truth. She turned to the ref and told him to grow up. No filter, no fake smile, just raw emotion from a player pushed too far. That wasn't a tantrum. That was a cry for help. A desperate plea for someone to notice what she's been dealing with all season long. Her voice echoed what fans and analysts have been shouting for weeks. Where is the protection for the league's biggest star? Why is Caitlyn Clark being treated like she's expendable? Her outburst wasn't about a single missed call. It was about months of silence, disrespect, and being left to fight a battle alone. And if this continues, the damage won't just be physical. It will cut through the very soul of a player who once lit up every arena she entered. And even with all the chaos swirling around her, the pain, the hits, the silence from officials, the emotional weight, Caitlyn Clark never stopped showing up. Game after game, she poured her heart out for a team that couldn't seem to figure out how to support her. She kept playing through pain most athletes would sit out for. She kept pushing when her body begged her to stop. She kept leading when everything around her was falling apart. Because that's who Caitlyn is, a fighter, a leader, a force. But even the strongest warriors have limits. And behind her fearless game face, something's been breaking. Her playing time? All over the place. 1 minute she's on the court, carrying the team. The next, she's benched for no clear reason, only to be tossed back in without warning. No consistency, no plan, just confusion. And for a player recovering from injury, that kind of unstable rotation is dangerous. It doesn't give her body time to adjust or recover. It throws off her rhythm. It messes with her mind. And it sends a brutal message. We don't know what we're doing with you. The coaching staff's decisions have made things worse, not better. They're treating Caitlyn Clark, the face of their franchise, like a role player, a rookie, a utility option. Instead of protecting her, they're using her. Instead of managing her minutes smartly, they're gambling with her future, and fans can see it. You can feel the frustration from the stands. You can read it in every comment online. People are starting to ask, how long can Caitlyn keep going like this? How much more can her body and spirit take before something finally gives for good? Because this isn't sustainable. And if the Fever don't wake up now, they might lose more than just games. They might lose the very reason people are watching. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a star. She's the spark keeping this team relevant, the engine driving ticket sales, the light keeping women's basketball in the spotlight. And every mishandled rotation, every ignored injury, every careless decision is one step closer to pushing her out for good. And if you think losing Caitlyn Clark would only hurt the Indiana Fever, think again, because her impact goes way beyond one team. Caitlyn isn't just another player. She's a once-in-a-generation superstar who's changing the entire landscape of women's basketball. Her name alone sells out arenas. Her highlights break the internet. Her presence has turned casual fans into diehards, and her influence is measurable in ticket sales, ratings, and merch flying off the shelves. This is what people are calling the Caitlyn Clark effect. During her time at Iowa, she didn't just play, she transformed the sport. She pulled in record-breaking crowds, shattered television viewership numbers, and brought more attention to women's college basketball than ever before. Games featuring Caitlyn Clark weren't just basketball games, they were national events, and the momentum didn't stop when she entered the WNBA. From her very first pro game, everything shifted. Suddenly, Indiana Fever games were sold out. Suddenly, media coverage tripled. The WNBA was finally in the spotlight, and Caitlyn was the reason. And now? Now they're risking it all. They're risking losing the one player who made women's basketball cool again, the one who got young girls dreaming of playing pro, the one who proved to the world that this league has stars just as electric as the NBA. Caitlyn's presence in the WNBA isn't just good for business, it's revolutionary. She's the reason kids are buying jerseys. She's the reason networks are giving the league primetime slots. She's the reason the game is evolving. But if she walks away, that all goes with her. The ratings, the hype, the magic, gone, and the league knows it. They should be doing everything to protect her, to support her, to build around her, but instead, they're burning her out, running her into the ground, gambling with the future of women's basketball, all for a few extra minutes on the floor. And if they don't realize what's at stake, they'll lose more than just a star. They'll lose the spark that reignited an entire sport. At first glance, you might think everything's fine. The Fever just won a game, the crowd was electric, the scoreboard looked great, but look closer, and you'll see the truth hiding in plain sight. That win, it came at a devastating cost. Behind the final score is a broken player limping off the court, tears in her eyes, and a fan base holding its breath. Caitlyn Clark didn't just walk off in pain, she walked off as a warning, a living, breathing alarm bell that the system is failing her. And what's worse is how preventable it all was. The injuries, the breakdown, the emotional toll, none of it had to happen. But because of careless management, reckless scheduling, and an obsession with short-term wins, they've pushed Caitlyn to the brink. And now the league has a choice to make. Do they keep riding the hype train until the wheels fall off? Or do they finally step back, look at the damage, and admit this isn't sustainable? This is bigger than basketball. This is about a human being, a young woman who has given everything to this sport, everything to this league, everything to this team, and been rewarded with exhaustion, silence, and pain. The Fever needs to do more than issue a press release or slap an ice pack on her injury. They need to own what happened. They need to stop pretending it's business as usual, because it's not. This is a turning point. Either they step up and protect Caitlyn Clark the way she's protected this league from irrelevance, or they lose her. And if that happens, there is no backup plan. No one else brings what she brings. No one else carries the weight she carries. This is not just about saving a player, it's about saving the very heart of the WNBA. So the question now isn't, will Caitlyn come back? It's should she? Should she trust this system again? Should she put her future in the hands of people who've already gambled with her health and lost? The damage has been done. The trust is fractured. And unless something changes fast, the league may lose its biggest star forever. And no amount of marketing, interviews, or highlight reels will be enough to fix that. Because let's be honest, this isn't just about one injury, one bad game, or even one bad season. This is about a system that's been broken for years. A culture that treats athletes like machines, and a league that finally got the spotlight but doesn't know how to handle it. Caitlyn Clark didn't ask to be the savior of women's basketball, but that's exactly what she became. And now, that responsibility is crushing her. Every missed call, every foul ignored, every reckless minute played is another brick added to the weight on her shoulders. And still, she's expected to smile for the cameras, carry the offense, lead the locker room, sell the jerseys, do the press, lift the ratings, and win the games, all while her own body begs for a break. And what does she get in return? Mismanagement, mishandled rotations, public pressure, silent suffering, and now, possibly, a career-threatening injury. This isn't just poor planning, it's betrayal. A betrayal of the trust Caitlyn gave when she signed that contract. A betrayal of the hope she brought into this league. A betrayal of the fans who believed the WNBA was finally turning a corner. Because if this is how you treat your star, your icon, your face of the league, then what message are you sending to every other player watching from the sidelines? That you're disposable? That no matter how hard you fight, no matter how many fans you bring, you're still just a pawn in someone else's game plan? Caitlyn Clark deserved better. She still does. And unless the Fever and the league start making real changes now, not later they will lose her. And when that day comes, it won't just be a sad moment, it'll be the day the league proves it never truly understood the gift it had. Because if Caitlyn Clark were to walk away today, the league wouldn't just lose a player, it would lose the very soul of its future. This is the woman who shattered records before she even turned pro, who turned empty seats into sold-out arenas, who made history not with hype, but with heart. Every time she steps on that court, cameras follow. Every move she makes trends online. She's not just an athlete, she's a movement. And yet, the very institution that's been lifted by her greatness is the same one letting her fall. If she leaves now, it won't be because she failed the WNBA, it'll be because the WNBA failed her. The league has never had someone like her. The charisma, the range, the drive, the undeniable ability to pull people in and keep them watching. She's a walking highlight reel, a business machine, and a generational talent wrapped into one. But no amount of talent can survive in a system that refuses to change. We're talking about a league that claims to champion its players, yet when the spotlight burns too hot, they look away. They focus on the wins, the merch, the clicks, but forget the person bleeding for it all. Caitlyn Clark brought a revolution to women's basketball, but revolutions demand sacrifice, and she's been the only one sacrificing. It's time that changed. Because if she leaves, everything she built could collapse overnight. Viewership will dip, momentum will stall, trust will be shattered. And the message will be clear. Even the best of the best aren't safe. So the question is no longer just about Caitlyn's injury. It's about whether women's basketball is ready to protect the legacy she's already created. Because the next move, hers or the league's, won't just affect one season, it'll decide the direction of the sport for years to come. So now we've reached the breaking point. The moment where everything that's been ignored, dismissed, and buried can no longer be contained. Caitlyn Clark isn't just battling defenders on the court. She's fighting for her body, her voice, her career, and her future. And what the world just witnessed wasn't weakness. It was the cost of greatness being taken for granted. Her tears weren't just about pain, they were a scream for change. A message to every coach, executive, and league official who ever thought they could ride her talent without responsibility. And if the WNBA truly wants to evolve, this is their moment of truth. Will they protect the woman who carried them into the national spotlight? Or will they repeat the same old mistakes that have driven other stars away? Because Caitlyn Clark's legacy isn't just in her three-pointers or her assists, it's in how she forced the world to care about women's basketball. And right now, the only way to honor that legacy is to listen to her body, respect her limits, and give her the time, space, and support she's more than earned. This isn't just about saving a season, it's about saving a future. And if they don't act now, they won't just lose Caitlyn Clark. They'll lose the trust of every fan, every player, and every young girl who believed this league was finally different. So what do you think? Is this the beginning of a bold new chapter, or the tragic moment where women's basketball let its brightest star slip away? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed, because this story is far from over.